in that left in the season, Chris. Where do you think this team can improve the most?
I think consistency is what we're always striving for. I think at times we've played very well. I think defensively we've come a long way, but I think every good team continues to get better and plays with consistency. So that's what we're looking to do.
Chris, how do you like the way that this team kind of blocks out the noise? Whether that's, people talking bad about them, people talking good about them now. I mean, how do you think they kind of shut all that stuff out?
I think young people are more immune to social media and noise because there's just so much of it nowadays. When we all were growing up, a prank phone call pissed you off, and that was about the only thing that people could do to get your goat. Now it's a lot different, but these guys have grown up in that age, and if you can't handle it, then you need to get off social media and worry about what we do between the lines and in the gym. And we talked about our expectations long before the outside world even discussed our team. In the months of May, June, July. And so we're going to continue to try to hold to that standard, try to live up to those expectations, and continue to progress and get better.
When you say expectations, what did you bring out to them if you don't talk about wins and losses?
Well, I expect us to bust our tail every single day. I expect guys to be great teammates, to stay resilient through adversity, and then those are certain non-negotiables that are on the table when you play here.
You never talk about a win goal or anything?
No, not specifically a win goal, but we talk about certain goals that we set for the season. But I don't ever discuss those with anybody other than our team.
Chris, you have a lot of memories at Wake Forest. What's obviously a good team? I know you're worried about that, but it was a place where you did have some really, really good years.
Yeah, and not just professionally but personally as well. I mean, that's a place that I called home for 2 years, and that we called home for 1 year, total of 3. And I say we, Christy and I. So it was, there are a lot of people that have moved on, just like I have, that are no longer there. But there are a lot of people that still live in Winston-Salem, either work at Wake or former neighbors of ours, and so there'll be a lot of familiar faces that I'll get to see, and I've always enjoyed going back to Winston-Salem because it was a special time and a place I really enjoyed.
The record doesn't look great, but the win over NC State, they're very capable on any given night.
And here's the thing, they've got a very, very young team, a very talented team, a team that handled NC State, had them down 20 at one point. So, there's no overlooking any team in the ACC. And that's when you do, you get an opportunity to take home a loss. And so, I know what Wake Forest brings when they're playing at their best, and that's what we're going to prepare for.
What was the enduring impact of Skip Prosser on you?
Wow, it was well away from basketball. He just was. Anybody that knew him knew he always had time for you. He just, and maybe I didn't appreciate it as much when I was an assistant coach, but when I became a head coach, to see all the different hats that you have to wear, the amount of people that are pulling at you for your time, to see how Coach really pulled it off without ever seemingly appearing as if you were bothered. He's always comfortable where he was at. He made people feel really at home, whether they were reporters, guys that played for him, the janitor, you name it. And I just think that he had a way with people that you don't find, not just in college basketball, but in a lot of places.
As far as Wake Forest, how do you kind of prepare for the style of play that they will try to do more?
Well, I think it all starts with Brandon Childress. I think, he didn't play very well against Boston College, and Consequently, they lost. I think we have to try to make the game as hard as we can on him, knowing that he's probably going to have a lot different mindset. When good players don't play very well in their previous game, they usually try to come out and fix the problem. But it starts with him. They obviously have an NBA prospect in Jalen Horde, who sort of a do-it-all, versatile guy that can play multiple positions. And then I think when they're at their best, they really offensive rebound the ball. So being able to keep them off the glass and limit them to one shot is important. And then they're going to throw that zone at us, and we've got to be able to handle it and get shots like we have in the previous games against teams that have played zone.
Because of his versatility, how do you guard Horde? What do you try to limit there?
Well, I think you try to limit as best you can his touches in and around the basket. He's comfortable in the long post, in the low post, facing up at the elbows. We've got to do it as a team. Certainly one guy's going to be assigned to him, during the course of the game, but we have to have an awareness about him and where he's out on the floor and try to make him uncomfortable in those positions as best as possible.
If you look at the net rankings right now, you project as a number 3 seed. Do you feel as if you're playing at that level? And if so, do you think you have a higher ceiling than that?
I think we can play at that level. But, I'm not wise enough with the entire landscape of all these different teams and all these different leagues. Just try to worry about our league and the next game that's at hand. And, if the tournament started tomorrow, great, but it doesn't. So we've got a long way to go and progress to be made.
You just mentioned that, though, for your players. How easy has it been as a coach that you don't have to tell them, just focus on the game at hand instead of, worrying about maybe who you got on Saturday or something like that?
Nothing's easy, but that's our job, is to make sure that when the guys come into practice, we're focused on the here and now, next drill, the next play, and that's what we've been about, the entire year. So it shouldn't change our approach as we enter the month of February.
Dwayne mentioned, getting picked, I guess, in the second half of the ACC 11th or so preseason, kind of fueled their drive a little bit. Now that 7 games in, just tied for first, do you still see that same fuel in your players?
I sure hope so. We remind them all the time. Again, we haven't even played 50% of our conference schedule. So for us to feel like we're at a destination point would really be foolish. You can find teams all over the country that are mired in losing streaks during conference play. And so while we're happy with the progress we've made, I would be disappointed if we were satisfied with where we're at.
This may seem like fake news, but given the polar vortex, do you try to recruit north right now to bring players down to a southern climate?
Probably should. It'd be hard to convince them that they were on an official visit right now that we weren't part of the North. But yeah, like I said the other day, we'll try to draw players from all over.
Chris, just curious, some of those games that were wins in November, December, but you didn't seem very happy post-game, did you ever get concerned that things might not round out with this team the way maybe you had envisioned?
Again, I try to worry about what's on the table now. So I'm not a worrier by nature. I'm not a pessimistic person by nature. But I am realistic enough to see what the problem is and then try to figure out how to address it the next day, the next practice, the next drill. So I tend not to worry about things.
I know you obviously don't like losing, but how beneficial is that Pitt game now to be able to use that as a lesson for games like this and some of the other ones left on the schedule?
I just as soon be mature enough to win the game and learn from it. But, it is what it is, and I think, hopefully you better yourself or your team through the experiences that you have. So, again, we get to play Wake Forest one time. We got to be at our best tomorrow night.
Would you describe yourself as an optimist, and is that rare, you think, in college coaching?
I don't know. I'm not the psychiatrist for all the other coaches out there. I just think that life's too short to brew and to stew. I don't know, stew and brood. That's not me.
What was your all-time winning percentage in assistant one-on-one games at Wake Forest with Dino and Pat and all those guys?
Damn near 100%.
Anything else for Coach? Great, thank you.
Thank you.